Hey there, gang. Nice to see everyone's smiling face. We have a small, intimate group. This is just the achievers. This is just the rock stars. The slackers, they're not here. They're not here. Well, great to see you. So Steve is going casual, just doing the t-shirt today. I like it. Aaron, Charles, Fred, great to see you. No singing. And Judith, great to see you as well. Mike is incognito. That's cool. Mike, is it your birthday today?
My birthday's
It's not. Okay, I believe you. I thought I saw, these Facebook notifications come by. Hey, it's Mike's birthday. It's okay. It's not Mike's birthday. It could be some other Mike. Could be some other more. We don't know.
Have more than one.
Yeah. All right. Tammy's here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. And Lisa Ryan, CSP. I think we have to celebrate again. We have to celebrate you again. We celebrated already once in the Keynotes That Convert group, but I am super excited to introduce Lisa Ryan, certified speaking professional.
Thank you. Thank you. Very exciting.
Just got all the official email, paperwork, the crown. You didn't get the medal yet, but you got the crown, right? And the scepter.
Well, and especially since it was this group that I was in on the day that I submitted my paperwork. So
there you go.
It's come full circle now.
Very nice full circle experience. Excellent.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Well, let's do a quick round of wins and celebrations, and then I have stuff to share with you as far as little training, marching orders, good ideas, things that will help you get more and better and bigger bookings. But we would be remiss if we didn't do a quick round of wins and celebrations. What we're doing in the active group, by the way, is we're doing wins and celebrations, but we've added a new layer. So not every time someone has a win or a celebration, we've added something that you've learned. So it could be a win, a celebration, or a learning from a prospect, learning from an opportunity, learning from a contract or a proposal, School of Hard Knocks, learning about, okay, I'm not putting my hand on the stove like that ever again. So it could be a non-learning or a non-example, or it could be a huge learning and a huge insight that will save you time, money, effort, etc. So they all count. Wins, celebrations, and learnings. Who'd like to go first? Let's go to Don. And then feel free to just pop into the chat, and then we'll kind of go down the marching list here if you have a win or a celebration or a learning. But let's go to Don first. And we've got to get you unmuted. You're talking, but we still can't hear you. Maybe something is on mute on your end, or the correct microphone's not selected in Zoom. Testing, 1, 2, 3. You're definitely not on mute on the Zoom side, but maybe the right microphone's not selected.
Okay, are we better?
There you go, much better.
All right. Technology.
I know.
So when I was researching an article on technology, oddly, for the hotel industry, I discovered another problem that the hotel general managers were having during my interviews, that they have a problem with vagrancy. And so that became an issue for my next article. And as I was doing research for the vagrancy article, I was reaching a whole new set of people besides general manager. It now opened up to hotel lodging associations. Mm-hmm. And it allowed me now to talk to people who would not talk to me for sales, because I'm going through this article research program. And I got a hold of the president of the Maryland Hotel Lodging Association, and she pretty much put her hands up and said, we're not really doing anything for vagrancy. We haven't taught our members. There's not much we know about. And Teresa's advice to me was, well, if that's a dead end, ask them what are they doing for their members. And that's how I got to that question.
Right.
And asked her, well, would you like to have a program on how to deal with vagrancy? And she said, yeah, that would be interesting. So once I get the article written and I know something about how to deal with the issue, I will present them with a proposal for dealing with vagrancy. So that was a win and something learned.
Totally. And I love that because, sometimes we go into a situation like that, Don, and we go, well, I'm not an expert in this. And then you ask the entire industry, do you guys do any training on this? They say, no, we have no idea what to do with it, but it's a big problem. So instead of them going to learn it and figure it out, you go learn it, you figure it out, you come back to them and say, listen, I'm only two steps ahead of you, but here's what I found. And so the whole imposter syndrome has to go away. It's like, well, I don't know anything about this. This is my first time. I've never done any research on this. They're even more clueless than you are. You have the time, the interest, the bandwidth, and the financial motivation to go find out, do some original thought leadership on this, then come back to them, and they will pay you.
That's the plan.
Fantastic. That's a great one. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And let's go to Erin next.
Hello there.
Hey.
Hey. So today I got my second of probably 3 contracts back for a $4,500 speak and sell opportunity. So I'm excited about
I love that. Speak and sell, not speak
and sell. Well, and the thing that is really, it kind of all builds on itself. So it's been a while, but I did some market research and created a free ebook. And I'm sending that out with having interviewed people. So that is getting, the insight of that is getting conversations started. And what's working really well is instead of lowering your fee, keep trying to add value until it makes sense, which is allowing me to get $4,500 instead of $2,000 or $1,500. And the things that we're adding in as value are things like webinars and stuff that are leading up to the actual speaking engagement, which quite honestly is just more opportunity to sell. So it's adding value, but it's creating such a good relationship with these folks that by the time we are together in person doing the workshop, it makes the selling opportunity a lot easier. Plus the research for the ebook has created the content for what I can now sell. So
there you go. Absolutely.
Coming together.
That is fantastic. Congratulations on that. That's a big win and then a big ongoing strategy that you can use a lot. And let's go to Lisa Ryan, CSP. She smiles every time. It's going to be like 6 months that when you say Lisa Ryan, CSP, this giant grin like...
Well, thank you. And actually what I discovered as part to do with that is that not only is it super cool to be a CSP and do the work that goes along with it, but the marketing that comes as a result of it. I took the time to write handwritten thank you notes to the 60 people that I sent out for the things. And then today I sent an email to all the clients that I had ever spoken to since 2014 with a little announcement and stuff. And there was a part of me that was feeling bad that I wasn't on the phone smiling and dialing. And then I just reminded myself that this was just another touch. It was one more piece of marketing. It was short, sweet, to the point, but thanking them for basically being part of the journey. So, and the other thing that I realized too is that had it not been for Skill Path and national seminars in the 3 years and 1 month that I committed to being a contract trainer, I would not have my CSP. So, I'm very grateful for not getting stuck in that, but for, doing what I needed to do to do the work and get it done. And training and, working with Skill Path it got me there.
Sure, absolutely. It's amazing. Just by the way, not to get your head all big and everything, the number of CPAE Speaker Hall of Famers that came out of Skill Path, national seminars, Fred Pryor, all of these kind of factories and mills. So Sanborn did it, McCain did it. all these, and there's probably a dozen of
Right.
them that say, oh yeah, that's what got me my speaking chops. That's what got me into this business. That's what got me maybe the CSP. And then boom, there they are in the Hall of Fame a mere few years later.
Absolutely.
Just something to think about, planting that seed here.
Yeah, Laura Stack too. She got started.
Yes. Yeah. Big time.
Yep.
Exactly. Stefani, you wanted to share a few words about your aha about nothing happens until a conversation?
Well,
Or
it's
some
not
just
really an
experience
aha.
behind that comment?
It's just a repetitive process, and I think for me the biggest thing is that it's a process. It's not the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always been that. Well, what's the result I'm getting? What's the result? And it's really about it's the conversations. It's the process of going through, contacting them, following up, following through, and instead of like, if I don't get this closed today, I just shift a mindset and me assuming something or about any company that I want to work with is it's not workable. It's a waste of my energy, and I just need to pick up a phone.
Right.
What's the worst that can happen? Say no. So for me, it's a learning process because this is a whole new terrain for me of picking up the phone and calling corporations, companies, CEOs, C-suite VPs. But now it's a lot easier and a lot more fun. Just having the conversations.
Right. And I have a little secret strategy, which is not really a secret strategy for everyone that relates to what you're talking about. That we'll get to that in the training component here in a moment. Anyone else? Fred.
Hello, David.
Hey there.
I had a very unique win last month. At the end of February, I delivered two workshops to a contractor group. There were only 25 of them in the room, and I followed up with a Zoom call for everyone who participated just within 30 days, just to check in to see what was working from the workshops, what wasn't. Would you have? And they're a non-competitive group, meaning their geography doesn't overlap, so they don't mind sharing their struggles with one another, nor their successes. And after that 40-minute session, 3 of them contacted me for further engagements with their individual companies. And they said, no one's ever, the group says no one's ever done this, no speaker's ever done this. So it has become part of my offering, is that not only do you have me all day, but within 30 days, I will conduct a Zoom conference call for anyone who either attended or was unable to attend, just to have some a Q&A session and discuss what might be on their mind and if we can brainstorm and help you out. And I think that's very effective.
That is really great. So it's the win for this one, and the learning is I'm doing that for the rest of my career.
Yeah, that's definitely that. It's part of the package now.
The way that you structured that Zoom call, was it just pure Q&A, or was it a little bit of kind of teaching and follow up just to connect the live event to the Zoom call?
It was follow up, because I talked in the morning session. It was based on service culture, and the afternoon was on sales and a structured sales presentation. And basically, what have you employed that's worked? What's not working? And then we tweaked it a little bit. Well, I offered them some direction on clarifying their story and their presentation. And look, getting 3 on board as a result of that is very unique.
Yes.
And I know I can't expect that every time, but it certainly has encouraged me to, what does 40 minutes cost of my time to follow up and stay connected?
How many total were on the Zoom call itself?
On the Zoom call, out of the 25, I had 15 that were on the Zoom call.
So you closed 20% of the 15.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
No, it was good. It was a good day.
That's fantastic. Really, really good. Excellent.
Good.
And Mike says, I'm currently working on his 10 by 10. I have some writing commitments I need to complete, which I will parlay into a decent set of published collateral. All right, excellent. That sounds good. Remember also that for everybody, including Mike, whenever you publish something, the content, it's nice. The content, when deployed in the service of a sales campaign, even better. So all of the touch points with a buyer or a prospect, when you're following up, they're considering you, they haven't started their decision-making process yet, you can always, every 4 to 6 weeks, send them something of value and say, hey, I just wrote this on my blog. I just posted this. This was just published in Entrepreneur or Inc. or wherever you work and write. It made me think of our conversation. Here's the piece. Feel free to share it with your group. Feel free to share it with your team. Feel free to pass this around the office to whoever you think would benefit from reading it. And if that does a couple of things, number one, it keeps you on their radar with value instead of just, is my check ready? Is my check ready? Is my check ready? Is it time to talk yet? Is it time to talk yet? Which is not a very compelling value prop. And it gives them fodder, like Mike is talking about here. Oh, well, we'd love to have a presentation on that. So basically what you're doing is you're sending up some trial balloons, right? Just like we talked about with Don about, hey, here's an article on this. Like, oh man, this is a big problem for us. Can you come and speak on this also? Maybe you had no intention of making that a speech topic or a program title, but the article is your test balloon. The article is both your prospecting ammunition and it's your test balloon for things that they may very well have a big problem with that they want to bring you in. Okay, now let's move on to the training part of this. And this comes out of the NSA auction. So interestingly enough, our National Speakers Association had an auction. I bought 4 or 5 things, then 4 or 5 people bought me. This happened to come from a client who bought like 1 hour of Pick Newman's Brain. And he said, and let me send you some things that are part of my marketing plan and just tell me if I'm on the right track. So as you can imagine, I'm like, oh my God, it's, I can't wait to see what this is. It'd be some disaster, some train wreck, some weird collection of nonsense. And it wasn't. It was actually pretty damn good. So let me show you what this was. I can't really share the details of this, but I'll share the important parts. So the first thing that he sent me is kind of a time blocking schedule, and some of you guys have done this, and it's valuable. I'm just going to fold this over to protect the innocent. But it looks something like this. All right, 5 days in the week. Whoop, glare, sorry. Can you guys see that? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And he's got AM and PM time blocking. So what he said to me is, if I assign myself writing every Monday morning, I'm going to get to the writing. I know what I'm doing that day. I've pre-planned it. I've blocked it out. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to write. I'm going to look forward to it. So the important thing there is the macro level time blocking of what you want to be doing and when you want to be doing it. He's got outreach, in case you're curious. It's Tuesday and Thursday afternoons. Tuesday and Thursday afternoons. There's nothing special or magic about these. He says, I'm going to sit my ass in the chair. I'm gonna nail my butt to the chair. I'm going to chain my leg to the chair. And he says, I'm going to do 5 outbound emails, 2 warm touches, and any follow-ups twice a week. Now, that's lower than I would like, but it's better than 0. It's better than 0. I said, well, could you either do it maybe 3 times a week or maybe bump that number to 10? So 10 on Tuesday, 10 on Wednesday. So there's 20 touches a week instead of only 10. But if you don't write it down, then there's no plan. So I'd rather have him do 10 on a plan than 0 with no plan. So that was that part of it. Here's what also impressed the heck out of me. He's got his association list. So he's got his, down here, dream exposure opportunities, dream revenue opportunities. Up here, he's got the associations that he wants to get in with. So ATD, SHRM, ASAE, AICPA, National Association of Securities Dealers, ASHP, whatever the hell that is, Airline Pilots Association, National Association of Realtors, and U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Good. Target 20, national events, state events, all good. Written, finite, workable plan. I love that. And then he did something which I think is really smart, which is he took an assessment of where he's got the best names to drop and the best stories to tell. So where do I have pockets or even one big client with some name recognition? And he made a list. And the list there is called, what does it say? Industry Speaking Experience. You guys see that? And he's got UPS, this one, credit union, TTCM is a credit union, ASHP, again, no idea what the hell that is. Dentists, Delta and UPS. He's worked with a lot of sports teams. And then 3 manufacturers, McElroy, galvanizers, and of course, the very popular steel pipe distributors. But what he's doing there is the replication strategy. So all he did is he sat down one morning and says, where do I already have some hooks? Where do I already have some tentacles? Where do I already have some relationships? And what I told him, I said, what you really have here is the right names to drop and the right stories to tell. So that brings us to some of his magic templates that he also sent to me. He said, well, here's the emails I'm sending out. So you recognize this, right? Dear F name, I'm not sure if you can help me, but I'm hoping you can point me in the right direction. But the way he customized it is the magic. So when he's talking to the manufacturing industry, he'll drop in those names. When he's talking to the consulting or the accounting industry, rather, he'll drop in those names and the specific references and the date and the event and, you know, what they said. So let me read an example of one of these. One of these landed him a $10,000 gig last week. So I figured I'd share it with you. This was the ATD conference in Central Florida. And he says, could you tell me who's responsible for selecting the keynote speakers for your wild 2019 annual meeting coming up the 9th and 10th of August 2019? Now, there's another interesting thing. Oh, there's no meetings in August. We take August off. August is dead. There's no meetings. You'll never get booked in August. Well, you'll never get booked in August unless you find some meetings in August that you should be talking at. Having spoken at several national ATD conferences, and most recently at the ATD Atlanta annual meeting, name drop, right? Relevance, specificity, right names to drop, right stories to tell. My programs have been, notice how he's changing the template. What's the definition of a template, guys? A template is a starting point. A template is something that you don't have to start with a blank piece of paper, but you don't just send the template on its own. Imagine if you open up Microsoft Word and you're looking for a job, and it's like resume template, and it's filled with placeholder stuff. And you go, hey, Jim, here's my resume. They go, position number 1, 1994 to 2000. But that's funny because you're only 26 years old. So you had a job when you were 4 years old? I don't get it. Customize the template, guys. Customize the template. My programs have been well received and generated a great deal of positive feedback from members at all levels. The Atlanta program I presented was, and he gives them the title, what training and development professionals can learn from the world's greatest coaches. The content is steeped in our research about, right? So what's the unique, right, angle? And his angle happened to be research. It could be anything based on my 15 years experience on the front line of X, based on some of the ideas in my book, blank. You don't have to have 15 years of research on this. The content is fresh and original because guess what? Everyone wants fresh and original content, right? Not stale, not boring. This guy had another ding on his resume, which is he's also a professor. So a professor, oh, good, a professor wants to talk. Forget about it. He has to say fresh and original, not the same old crap that the other old geezers have been coming in to teach you. This program is tailored. Listen to this language. This program is tailored for learning and development professionals. Your program, when you talk to accountants, it's tailored for accounting professionals. It's tailored for technology executives. It's tailored for manufacturing customer service leaders. Whoever you're talking to, that's who it's tailored for, because if they hire you, it will be, right? It will be. Yes, it will be, David. That's right. I tailor all my programs. All right. So the content's fresh and original. The program is tailored for ex-professionals. The program appears, this is great. I mean, I'm learning stuff from this. The program appears particularly appropriate for your 2019 Wild event, as it heavily addresses two of your conference themes: A, communication skills, and B, coaching skills. So he did the research. And I talked to him. I said, so what is this, 15, 20 minutes on their website? He goes, if that. I mean, it's like 10 minutes, and I got all I need. So all you're doing is you're scanning for high-level relevance, connection. How does my content plug into your event? How does my content plug into your industry? How do I come across as not a stranger? How do I come across as not a goofball or an alien being saying, you want my program? It's like, no, my program becomes your program. So I'm doing the tailoring in the initial outreach. Don't send them a generic email, oh, don't worry, we'll tailor this, and you don't tailor the damn email? Well, how much are they going to believe you if you don't tailor the damn email? 0. This is good. It's especially appropriate for your XYZ event, as he says heavily addresses, what I would say is directly addresses, two of your primary themes. I'm not sure if a high engagement, performance-oriented program would say, but I think it might be. I would love to connect with the right person or people to find out. Any help you could provide would be greatly appreciated. $10,000 gig. $10,000 gig in less than a week of turnaround time. Because he hit it with the right person, the right language, the right relevance. He put this together, and it generated conversation, as Stefana mentioned. But in the conversation, this email did all the selling. He didn't have to convince, persuade, beat him around the head. This email did all of the selling with less than 10 minutes of tailoring and personalization around that particular association, that particular conference, that particular theme. And notice that the right names to drop and the right stories to tell. Single event. One event, he says, yeah, you guys are in Florida, and I did a good job in Atlanta. And by the way, you got to take my word for it that I did a good job in Atlanta, because there's no testimonials, there's no references, there's no proof. There's no proof that he even went to Atlanta. It happens to be true, and don't lie, because people will find that stuff out pretty quickly. But he said, oh, well, how do I prove this? Do I have to have a video of me in Atlanta? No, you don't have to have proof, right? We're not submitting a subpoena to the Supreme Court here. But he's just imagine sending out 5 or 10 of these a week. What would that do for your revenue? Pretty exciting. So that's that. Then, most exciting part about this is the prospect list. And we tell you guys to do this, and we teach, and we preach, and we turn blue in the face, and it's fine that you don't do it, but he did it. So here's the event list. And all he's doing is, and you could even get a VA to research this. So he says, okay, where are the places that I've spoken and or want to speak? And he's got the conference and the date and the link. Now, some of these go back to 2017. And I said, why is there old events in here? He says, because that's when I know what time of year they typically have their event. So I'm looking at someone who is, and this is too late to get booked now, of course, but it's May of 2019. Guess what? In July of 2019, he's going to reach out for May of 2020. Right? There's June of 2017. They're going to do June of 2019, June of 2020. He's got March of 17. That's going to be March of 2020. So not that they always keep the same time frame, but most of the time they do. He says, I never delete anything off this list. This is a living document, and it just keeps going. So it's his data bank, and I'm trying to show you the dates there. See the old dates from 2017? He's got the date, the name of the conference, and the link. So you go to the link, he said, when's the next one? Then he said something to me really smart. He says, I often don't want to go to the main big annual convention. I said, really? Why not? He says, well, because I talk about leadership. I want to go to the leadership meeting that they have. So a lot of times these big associations will have the general conference or the general meeting. Certainly AICPA, SHRM, American Bankers Association, all of these. They will have the American Bankers Association Leadership Summit or Leadership Meeting. That's only for the presidents and the CEOs of those banks. Credit Union Association just has the leadership meeting. SHRM just has the leadership meeting for the chief people officers and the chief HR people, not for the worker bees, not for the mid-level people, for the top guys and gals. He says, I want to be in the room with the top guys and gals. So yeah, I might get paid, $10,000-$15,000 to go do the big event. I want to go, and even if he speaks for free, he says, I'll speak for free at the leadership meeting, and that's not a $10,000 gig, that's a $100,000 gig, because I will leave there with $100,000 of business, not a $10,000 speaking fee. So you have to know the game that you're playing. So then I asked him, because he says he's got, and this was just a weird one. I was like, how did this get on your list? American Dental Student Association Leadership Conference. And I'm like, what? So you guys see that one? American Dental Leadership Student Conference. I was like, why the hell are you talking there? He says, well, because they invited me. I said, okay, well, what other specific leadership conferences are you targeting? He says, what do you mean? I said, man, if you want to talk at the leadership level, I would get on Google and I would go crazy on Leadership Conference 2019, Leadership Conference 2020, Leadership Summit, Leadership Meeting, Leadership whatever, and then put in the associations, or put in not the associations, put in the industries. Accounting Leadership Conference 2019, Construction Leadership Conference 2019, Engineering Leadership Conference 2019, Conference, Convention, Meeting, Summit, Annual, all of those words. Put in 2019, put in 2018, find the old one in case the 2020 is not up yet. Put the 2020 in there. You will find, I said, you could find 50 conferences this afternoon that are just that leadership conference, not the main annual convention, but the leadership conference. And again, you guys that are in sales, put in sales conference, sales meeting, sales convention, sales leadership. You're in customer service? Fantastic. Customer service conference, customer service convention, customer service summit, customer service roundtable, customer service executive, whatever it is, customer service leadership summit, right? Any topic, any specialization is going to have that top layer. So he says, well, that's what I do. I talk on leadership. Right? I talk on leadership. I talk on sales. I talk on customer service. Sometimes, if you're in innovation, right, it's going to be the HR Innovation Conference. It's going to be the Engineering Innovation Conference, the Oil and Gas Innovation Summit. So whatever your topic is, if they have a sub-event beyond the main event, and that's your thing, they want to hear from you. They totally want to hear from you. So I just thought that was a brilliant strategy. I was like, okay, I'm telling the group this afternoon about this crazy crap because it's brilliant. It is search for what you want to find, right? There's a big aha. There's a Zen cookie, fortune cookie for you. Search for what you want to find. Jedi mind trick. Search for what you want to find, and you will find it. But what impressed me, two things impressed me about this. Number one, living document target list. Right? He never takes anyone off because he knows that, okay, March 2017, I missed that one. March 2019, I missed that one. March 2020, I'm going to get in touch with these people in April or May, right? Give them 1 or 2 months of breathing room and then say, hey, I saw this, I saw that. I looked at your program book in 2019. It looks like you don't have a lot of programming here. Looks like there's some gaps in your programming that I'd be happy to fill. Would that be worth a short chat? And just the fact that this is sort of an ongoing then marketing calendar that he knows when these events typically are. I then told him, I said, listen, you have one of those big erasable, reusable wall calendars from Staples? He goes, no. He says, well, I would go get one and I would put these on there. And then I would back it up 9 or 10 months and say, contact this one, this one, this one. You have it all laid out on a chart, right? And I'm seeing, here's an event in December. I need to be talking to them in March or April. right? Color code it, whatever. So for the December event, I'm going to reach out in March or April. For the January 2020, I'm going to reach out in April or May. So do that 10 to 12 month lead time, and then you'll have everything in front of you in this beautiful visual model that happens to be on your office wall. And you can do a 2-year calendar, perpetual calendar. It doesn't have to be 2019. You do a blank one, and then just fill in the months and years, then erase it down every January. So this just impressed the heck out of me. He's got, he goes all the way through January of 2020. And I think he said it's not even currently fully up to date. He would ordinarily go probably another 6 months into June of 2020 for some of these bigger ones. But yeah, do that. Do that. It's a great freaking idea. So when he says, hey, I'll send you my marketing plan and some documents, you know, what do you think? I'm like, dude, I think you're in the top 10% of the class is what I think. And now all y'all, though, are going to start doing this, right? So this is killer stuff. You're going to customize the template. You're going to get the ever-growing perpetual lead list. And you're going to also organize your organize and calendarize, time block your marketing activities. And then you're going to do your dream exposure opportunities, dream revenue opportunities, and the places that your active 20, again, he's got from the previous rant, AICPA, National Association of Securities Dealers, ASHP, Airline Pilots Association, National Association of Realtors, and U.S. Chamber of Commerce. That's where you have, that's where you have the right names to drop and the right stories to tell. You're going to make the right names to drop and right stories to tell list. Some of those might end up on your marketing calendar, and they probably should, but then there's just places that you want to break into for the first time. That is how to do it. That's how to do it. And it's not hard. It's not painful. It's not mysterious. It's none of those things. It's effective. It's easy. It's fun. Questions? Questions, comments, thoughts? Or I'm going to get to Aaron here in a second. I'm also open to true confessions. David, this is easier than I've been making it. If you want to raise your right hand and simply say, David, this is easier than I've been making it, that's okay. And I see some pledges going up right now. Aaron, go ahead.
I don't know if I missed it or not. I was curious what his subject title, his subject line was for that email.
Well, the subject line that he didn't share it with me, but if he's following the template, it is Bob, person's first name, right? Program for ASAE, program for AICPA. So it's the person's first name,
Okay.
the name of their organization, and the subject line is simply program or programming for, because that's what it's about. It's programming for. And it's, hey, could you tell me who's responsible for, I'm not sure if you can help me. I'm hoping you might point me in the right direction. Could you tell me who's responsible for blah, 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 blah. But then the customization there was the magic.
That part I do really good. It's just if you can get them to open it, you stand a better chance.
Are you tracking your open rates and you're finding people aren't opening a personalized one-on-one email?
And interestingly enough, in case you missed it, the forwarded, take it, forward it, in case you missed it, all lowercase, strip all the junk out of it and just say, I know emails get buried. I want to make sure we connect. That has a 3 times open rate compared to my initial email.
So your second email that says just forwarding this in case it got lost in the shuffle.
In case you missed it, looks real casual.
Yeah.
Which it is. It's just a casual connection. It has like a 3
if they open the first one, great. If they open the second one, triple the rate, you could just start sending the second one.
Believe me, I thought about it.
Now we're thinking. Now we're innovating here, people.
Can I copy that? Can I replicate what that looks like and just do that?
Imagine if your first contact is, Dear Brenda, this is my 3rd email. You must be very busy. Oh my God, I've ignored this person twice already. It's like, nah, it's my first email, but thanks for responding.
And I can tell you the funny part of it, once you develop the thick skin, not only does it have a 3 times open rate, but if I'm going to get yelled at by someone, it's by someone who is saying, I didn't miss it. I didn't want to talk to you.
That's okay too.
That's all I needed to know.
That is perfectly okay.
Now I know.
Yeah. Unless we had this really ugly conversation, how would I know that?
Right.
I will never darken your doorstep again.
Right. Now, and you know what's funny though? And it just shows you about never give up. I have a call tomorrow about doing 2 events in Wyoming in August for a group I had as a hard no because they gave me a nasty reply. Then I got referred to a different person in the same organization who's doing all sorts of magic to make it happen. So hard no from one person in the organization doesn't mean hard no from someone else in the organization.
There you go. Always have multiple friends in any prospect organization.
Multiple people telling you no from the organization.
Well, in the old school world of sales, and maybe Charles knows this, I think Fred knows this, we call this strategic account management.
Yes.
That you never have just one point of contact in any client. You always want to make friends with 2, 3, 4 people so that if someone leaves or gets promoted, you don't go back to square zero.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. What else? Other questions, comments,
David,
thoughts?
You said, I mean, he does leadership, and then he goes through a multitude of areas. So he's got banking, he's got whatever the difference. So how is he focusing himself?
So he is choosing just to focus on the leadership topic, and he seems to have a good track record because, again, he was a professor for 30 plus years. So he's got some relationships in all of these different industries, but each one of these he's replicating. So I gave him that advice also. Which the heck one was it? It was Florida. He says, I'm Florida Restaurant and Lodging Association. And just appears there like it's the only restaurant association. And I said, what's your connection with the Florida? I mean, why Florida? At Florida Restaurant and Lodging Association Summit. And he said, well, I did their program a couple years ago. I said, okay, but all I see here is Florida. You're going to only follow up with Florida? You're not going to hit the other 49 states? And he goes, oh. So I said, you should be going into every, take the Florida credential and farm that around to the other 49 states, right? Knock on the right doors, have the right names to drop in the right stories to tell. So he's got enough experience under his belt at this point where he can just use the replication strategy. And like I read to you about the ATD Atlanta versus the ATD Florida conference, that he can just be farming and replicating that. And he doesn't have to be narrow, and it's not a big burden. It's not a big source of confusion or overwhelm for him to go into, what did I say? The restaurants, the sports teams. It's not that one. It's this one. The restaurants, the sports teams. It was this list, right? That's where he's got the background, the connections, the credentials. So using this is the only reason. If you have a vacuum, like I got nowhere to go. You try and boil the ocean. I'm going to go everywhere. I'm going to go anywhere. You get up in the morning and you're not going to get a lot done. In his world, it's pharmacists, dentists, and that can be medical, right? Sports, because he's has a big coaching background. Communication, banks, credit unions, because he's got the one credit union client, and he's got 3 manufacturing clients, this McElroy galvanizers, and of course the steel pipe distributors. So given a vacuum, he's going to pop into one of these little niches and keep investigating and keep building the bunny trail.
So who is he again?
This is a guy who's doing leadership. He's doing leadership, strategic leadership, team leadership, culture of leadership, that kind of thing. That's his shtick. What else? Lisa Ryan, CSP. I've now changed your name, by the way, on Zoom.
It'll never get old.
I know. Me neither.
I've been doing the same type of thing with keeping the list like that. The hint that I would give or that I would share is that to do it in an Excel spreadsheet, because you can alphabetize by that.
Right.
But the column that I use, because I have a date of the conference, and then I have the conference link and another thing. But then what I started doing is putting the conference month, so that way I can alphabetize or sort by the month. And so right now I'm contacting people whose programs were last February, because it's 2 months after the event. So it just makes it really easy to go through and do that sort, and then you can just bam through them. But the thing that I got from it that is kind of like a duh, because I've been using that forever, was to add names of some of the similar associations that I've spoken to, since I've spoken to so many of them.
Right.
I've never done that. So that was a big aha today.
See that? You're here for just that one little idea that cracks the whole thing open.
Yep. So it was good. Thank you.
And Mike's question is, when you're doing that, we talk about strategic account management, talking to several stakeholders in each client. Do you contact everybody you're going to contact all at once, or do you stagger the contacts so you get a no every day, every week, or whatever? So two different things going on, and this is important to share both. My initial comment was, when you get in, after you get in through one person, then make sure to make friends with everybody else and get to know people and build those relationships. But I like what you're saying, which is another strategy. And there's a guy that wrote a book about 20 years ago, maybe even in the 1990s sometime. It's called The Power to Get In. And you don't need to buy the book, because I'm going to give you the key strategy right here. This is all predicated on this one thing. The Power to Get In says that when you're getting into a company or an association or anything, you find the 3 top bananas, the 3 top people. Maybe the CEO, the president, and the COO. The executive director, the programs chair, and the education chair committee person. Let's say it's Bob, Brenda, and Sue. You write to Bob, Brenda, and Sue. I'll try and keep these names straight through the example here. Dear Bob, do the initial email. Second paragraph is, I've also contacted separately Brenda and Sue, right? And then request. Brenda gets an email. Dear Brenda, request. I've also contacted Bob and Sue. Sue gets an email. Dear Sue, I've also contacted Bob and Brenda. So now what you're doing, you're sending a private personal email, and you're naming the 2 other people. I've also contacted this one and this one, just so you know. Now, here's what they're going to do. Here's how corporate America typically works. They're going to stop playing solitaire, or they're going to go down the hall to a donut, and they say, hey, I just got this email from this guy, Fred Reggie, and he said he contacted you and Brenda. Yeah, I got that email from Fred. What do you want to do with it? I don't know. Let's ask Brenda. And they will have a meeting right there in the freaking hallway, the 3 top decision makers, about what the hell to do with you. Because when I send an email to Fred, here's what Fred does: delete. I send an email to Aaron. Aaron goes, delete. I'm dead. I go, yeah, Fred, Aaron, and Charles. Oh, by the way, Aaron, I've also separately contacted Fred and Charles. You don't say why. You don't make an excuse. It's just like a statement of fact, right? When I talk to Charles, by the way, I've also made contact with Fred and Aaron. Who the hell's this David Newman guy? And what does he want? What is he, a speaker? He's got a program? Do we need a program? Yeah. Have we chosen our speaker yet? No. Should we talk to this guy? I don't know. Fred, you talk to him. This is what happens. So it's a triangulation strategy. So notice what you don't do. You don't write to one and carbon copy the others. This is 3 personal emails. 1, 1, 1, and you mention the other 2 people by name. I've already talked, I'm also contacting Brenda and Sue with my request, with my inquiry. Looking forward to hearing back. That's it. Same exact template, except now you do the triangulation strategy. What this guy says in The Power to Get In is it forces you to become a topic of conversation. It forces you to become a topic of interest to that company, because now they're going, what do we do with this guy? He emailed you, he emailed her. Who's going to get back to him? He doesn't need 3 replies. He needs 1 reply. So it's now it's who's going to get back to Fred, not do we get back to Fred. It's now who's being delegated. The CEO says to the president, well, you handle the conference, you get back to Fred. The president says to the CEO, no, I think this topic is more your thing, so you talk to Fred. The president and the CEO say to the COO, well, you're in charge of the conference, you get back to Fred. And now they're responsible for getting back to you. This is the greatest goddamn thing since sliced bread. And you can spend $20 and go buy the Power to Get In. You can find the used copy on Amazon, but I gave you the punchline. So if you want to contact multiple people, that's how to do it. Once you get in, you always want to make sure to make friends with the top people in that association or the people that are in contact with that department or that group inside the company. You never want to let a promotion or a firing or a retirement blow up one of your key relationships. You know, I've had this happen way too much. Like, hey, Bob, what's going on? Oh, no, I left there 6 months ago. And you're like, oh, crap. And then you're back at zero. You're a stranger, right? Because Bob is the only guy that you knew at the company. He said, oh, I retired 6 months ago. I missed that. Yeah. Hey, could you team me up with the new team? Nah, I hardly know the new team. I'm playing golf now. Could cost you tens of thousands of dollars not to build multiple relationships inside a company once you get in. Once you get in, you need 3, 4, 5 friends on the inside, not just the guy or gal who hired you. I'm giving you all the lowdown here. This is fantastic. This is like inside stuff. Yeah, thank you. Golf clap. Thank you, Tiger Woods. Very nice. Nice. Welcome back, Tiger. Good job. Little golf clap for everyone. All right, what else? Any other questions, comments, thoughts? I'm loading you up here with the ninja sales and outreach strategies. Everyone's good? You gonna make some money with these ideas? I'm looking at you. Meaning all of you. Okay, I believe you. So don't be a stranger in the Facebook group. We have 127 people in there. And it's like a desert, like tumbleweeds going. That place should be hopping. It should be hopping with questions, interactions, stuff you want to know, stuff you're working on. Do not be a stranger. You know, what they say about SPF, same thing they say about the Marines. There's no such thing as a former Marine. And there's no such thing as a former SPF client. We want to make sure all of you are insanely successful. So get your butt in the Facebook group and let's make some of that success happen together. All right. See you guys later.